a subtle abomination is brewing in the featherweight division. And guys, nobody is bringing attention to this, and I do not want this to slip through the cracks. That's right. They are trying to give Diego Lopes another title shot against Alexander Volkanovski, and I think that would be the biggest disgrace and absolutely disrespectful to Alexander Volkanovski. And I am going to rant about that in this video, and I think that we need to call this out. And if the UFC announces this fight, if Diego Lopes is next for Alexander Volkanovski, we're not going to let the UFC hear the end of it. We're going to talk about it, okay? And we are also going to talk about this take from O'Malley that is setting the MMA community on fire. Actually, a very good take from Sean O'Malley, and I'm hearing a lot of backlash, a lot of conventional, well, Jones beat 10 champions. O'Malley basically said that Ilia Topuria is the best pound-for-pound fighter in UFC history, skill-wise. That is what he's talking about. And he brought up Jon Jones, and he said that he's better than even Jon Jones because Jones is talked about as the best fighter of all time. And he's saying he's better than Jon Jones, and that should not be controversial at all, but it is. And a lot of people are giving him flack from it. People are saying, wow, Merab did more damage than we expected. Because how dare O'Malley suggest that at 145 and 155 pound dominant champion in 2025 is more skilled than a dinosaur era light heavyweight and a guy that beat old man Stippy? We're going to talk about that as well. We're also going to talk about some new matchups. UFC 322, Benoit St. Denis and Beneil Darius booked for MSG. I'm going to give my early prediction. I'm also going to talk about this. Orolbai versus Jack Hermansson. Hermansson is moving down to welterweight. That's the last thing I'll discuss in this video. But before we get into this, guys, if you're looking to get in the gym, you're looking to max out your physique, but you do not know what to do in the gym, you're totally clueless about how to go about working out, what routine to do, and you want some guidance and you want a plan, I have a beginner lifting program to help you out. This is a 12-week program, and by the end of it, you should be able to learn principles of strength training and to help you make your own in the future. So if you're interested, check out my beginner lifting program. Code MMA for 30% off. The link is in the description. But let's get into this, all right? Diego Lopes. Yeah. So if you guys have been paying attention, you know that a Volkanovski interview came out a couple of days ago on Submission Radio where he's talking about the fact that there are some doubts about there being a Lerone Murphy fight next. Here's the clip that I'm talking about.
Mentioned before December could be the target month for you. Do you still feel like that's the month? And do you still feel like Murphy is the next guy for you after the Silva Lopes fight?
I mean, it's hard. Like, I thought that was what it was going to be, but there might be a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
A spanner in the works? I mean, I'm guessing that just means that there was a wrench thrown into the plan, and now maybe they let Volkanovski know that actually there may be something else. We were going to do Lerone Murphy, and this is the thing. We were all under the impression that Volk and Lerone Murphy is probably going to be next, given that Gene Silva, if he was to beat Diego Lopes, he has more hype than Lerone Murphy. He's a fresh matchup for Volkanovski. He's got all of this hype as a fighting nerd. He's going to be next. But now that he lost, I mean, Diego Lopes fought for the belt earlier this year. That was literally Volkanovski's last title defense. Who the fuck would want to see Volkanovski fight the same guy in what could be his last ever UFC fight? Who wants to see him fight a fucking useless, unnecessary rematch just because Diego's going to sell 10,000 more pay-per-views? That's basically what it is. It makes no sense. That's not going to happen, right? But actually, Diego Lopes just got this big win. Diego Lopes, he's representing the Spanish-speaking market, the Brazilian market, but also the Mexican market. And Diego Lopes is basically like a representation these days of Mexican MMA as well, because he reps Mexico. They're putting him on every single Noche card. And you know how desperate the UFC is for a Mexican champion. They really want to blow up MMA in that market because Mexico loves combat sports. But again, they really love boxing and MMA hasn't taken off the way that they want it to take off. I understand why they want Diego Lopes to be fighting for titles over a guy like Lerone Murphy, who although made a statement in his last fight against Aaron Pico, he's on a 9-fight win streak. He absolutely deserves it. Diego Lopes is going to do bigger numbers. But let me just cut to the fucking chase because this actually pisses me the fuck off. We are not about to mess with Alexander Volkanovski's legacy and give him a pointless rematch that is basically just the UFC recognizing that Volk is old. He himself is saying he's not going to stick around for much longer, and we want someone to take over after knocking him out. We don't want it to be the case where the next champion, it could be Diego Lopes when he gets the belt. Oh, well, he's not the real champ because he lost to Volk. So let's just keep running Lopes and Volk back. Given that we know Volk is going to retire soon, let's just keep running that fight back because Lopes is the biggest star. He has the most potential for star power in the featherweight division. Let's run that back 1 billion times until Diego Lopes KOs Volkanovski so that Volk can retire, he can get lost, and now at least we have a champion that has some real claim to being a champion. They don't want there to be some vacant belt situation. We're not about to let the UFC shit all over Alexander Volkanovski because that's what they're doing. That's what this is. If they book him versus Diego Lopes next, what that is we want Lopes as champ and we need Lopes to KO Volk. We can't let Volk go out on top, and it needs to be Diego Lopes who knocks him out. He's going to sell more than Lerone Murphy. We don't want Volk to beat Lerone Murphy and then sail off into the sunset. We don't want that to happen. Fuck that. We're not doing this shit. We're not standing for this shit. And also, it's just pathetic, dude. You couldn't beat this guy 5 months ago. We're not letting you fluke it. We're not letting you just run it back 1 billion times. Diego Lopes is saying, people love to watch me. I'm the most exciting fight for Volkanovski. Yeah, you're an exciting fighter, 100%. You're more entertaining than Movsarevlov. You're more entertaining than Lerone Murphy, but you're not a more exciting fight for Volkanovski. We just saw that fight. We literally just saw it. You had 5 rounds. You couldn't do it. We're not just going to run it back 1 billion times, Sean O'Malley and Merab style. We're not doing that shit. What's exciting is a fresh matchup. What's exciting is Volkanovski versus someone that's on a win streak, that is deserving of fighting for a title that he hasn't been in the cage with. Okay? That's exciting. What is respectful for Volkanovski? And this is to the UFC, a guy that has saved event after event, stepping in on short notice to save that fight card in Abu Dhabi when Oliveira pulled out. This is shitting all over a man that was there to save the day. Okay? We're not doing this. Volkanovski has earned a right. He has earned the right to get new legacy and not to fight the same guys over and over and over again. Diego Lopes hasn't done shit to earn a rematch with the greatest featherweight of all time, a top 5 fighter. He hasn't earned it. Okay? He earned his title shot. Okay? Diego Lopes is a hard worker. I like him. I'm a fan of him. We're not giving this guy is not Max Holloway. Okay, this guy isn't an absolute UFC legend, former champion, top 5 GOAT. This is Diego Lopes. He's a contender, but he hasn't really done that much in his career to warrant him a title shot after just losing to Volk. Volk just defended his belt against this guy. Nobody wants to see Volk fight in a rematch right now. Nobody. We don't want to see that. We want a fresh matchup. He's earned a right to get a new name on his legacy, a new name on his resume. It's just not going to look good. Even if he beats Diego Lopes, it's like, oh, great, another rematch win. Because a lot of people, they say, oh, well, the problem with Volkanovski's legacy is it's the same guy over and over and over again. Holloway a bunch of times. Whereas if he fights Lerone Murphy and beats Lerone Murphy, and then Diego Lopes continues to win and does his thing and has a great career, we're going to look at that and be like, okay, that's an amazing thing that he did to beat Diego Lopes. Look at what Diego Lopes was able to do. Right? But if you put Lopes in there with Volk, if he goes out there and knocks out Volk, people are just going to say, oh, well, Volk fought the green Lopes. Volk fought the tadpole version of Lopes. It was the Mayweather-Canelo situation. Screw that. That's what the UFC wants. They want Lopes to KO Volk. They think Lopes has a better chance of doing it than Lerone Murphy, and you know what he does? He does have a better chance. But my point is, Volk is 37 years old. He may only have one more fight left in him. We're not doing a fucking rematch that is simply there just for the UFC to set up the next championship title run. No. Put some respect on Volkanovski. This is for him. Do something for this guy's legacy. Let him get the chance to get another name. They wouldn't do this with anyone else. They're only doing this with Volk. They wouldn't do this with Makhachev. They wouldn't do this with Ilia Topuria. They wouldn't do this with Sean O'Malley. With other champions that the UFC really likes, when they get past a really tough test, they don't force the champion to run it back with the really tough nightmare matchup. They do it to people they don't like. They do it to Merab. They don't like Merab. They prefer O'Malley, so Merab's got to fight O'Malley a billion times until O'Malley KOs him. That's what they're doing to Volk. What is wrong with you? Why don't you guys respect Volk for all the work that he's done? Has he not earned his right for you guys to look after him a little bit at the age of 37? When I say looking after him, I'm not saying give Volkanovski a fucking easy layup matchup. I'm just saying let him have a chance to fight someone new. Like, it's just insane to me to think that anyone wants to watch him fight Lopes again. He just fought him. It's not exciting. Because even if Lopes wins, we're going to crack it up to, oh, well, yeah, Volk got even older. Lopes is now even more in his prime. Of course, you run that back enough times, when Volk keeps getting older, eventually Lopes is going to catch him and put him away. That's not interesting. And I know Volk's going to get another title shot in between. Like, obviously, he's going to be fighting on the Street Fighter movie. And people don't think about this. No one's going to talk about this. But Volk winning in the Street Fighter movie, I'm putting that on his legacy. Those are even tougher fights, because Volk's probably going to be fighting, like, some final boss-looking character. And if he wins that, you got to put that on his resume. But again, I mean, come on, man.
Come on, man. They don't have the money. Come on, man. Right.
Give Lerone Murphy his title fight. I know we're all fans of Diego Lopes. You can be a fan of Diego Lopes and shut this down. You could be a fan of Diego Lopes. You can like Diego Lopes. You could want to see him win. And you can also call out the fact that this is fucking bullshit. Of course, he's going to advocate for himself. I don't blame Lopes. He's probably looking at that Volkanovski interview on Submission Radio, and he's taking advantage of that, throwing his name in the hat at the right time, striking while the iron is hot. I get it, but he needs to fight someone else. Unless Volkanovski beats Lerone Murphy or beats Mavzar, then I'm okay with him fighting Diego Lopes. I don't want to see a 37-year-old on the verge of retirement Volkanovski have to fight the same guy who he just fought, who is not a UFC legend. That's the point. He shouldn't have to do the same fight again. The last fight he had could have been his last fight. He just got past that matchup. Put some respect on his name. The UFC doesn't do this to any other fucking champion that they like. They've always not... Fuck you! Fuck you! They've always wanted Holloway as champ. They wanted Topuria as champ. The UFC, they like Volk, but they've always wanted someone else. I'm calling that out. I'm calling it out. You know it's true, though. You know it's true. The UFC, fuck you. I'm on to you. Like, dude, they always want someone else. Fuck you. You know it too, dude. They always wanted Yair to KO Volk. Because Volk is an all-time great. Volk is a fucking legend. They've always wanted someone with the X factor of having the Mexican market. Having the point down moment, emote moment like Holloway. Right? They wanted the Topuria Spain market with KO power. Volkanovski, they've always... Dude, I feel like Volkanovski's entire fucking career has been the UFC setting up the next guy. They never put respect on this guy's name. All these other divisions, they like make... Oh, big fight for Makhachev. Big fight for Dustin Poirier. They love Dustin. They love Max. They love Islam. For Volk, oh yeah, we're going to put him against that guy. We're going to try to set up the KO. Yep, Volkanovski's going to turn around and fight Topuria 3 months after getting head kick KO'd. Yep, we love it. We absolutely love it. If Diego Lopes gets a title fight, I'm not watching. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to watch it. But I don't want to see Diego Lopes KO Volk at 37 years old. He's already earned his shot. I'd much rather see Mobzar fight for the title. Like worst case scenario, even if Volk is getting beaten his next fight, we're not doing this rematch nonsense. So it's not even about, oh, I'm afraid of Volk losing. Like, yeah, I'm a little bit more scared of him losing because Lopes can actually knock him out. But it's not even about that. It's just like, you're just forcing it at that point. It's so clear that they're just taking advantage of the fact that he's old and he's about to retire anyway. So they're like, oh, well, whoever is going to be the biggest champion next, whoever's going to make the most money next for us as a champ, like, that has to be the guy. Even if he's just fought Volkanovski 4 times in a row. We need to rally against it. And do not let the fact that you're a fan of Diego Lopes get in the way of it. I'm a fan of Diego Lopes. I like Diego Lopes. It doesn't change the fact that it would be a disgrace for the UFC to force Volk to fight the same guy when there's 2 other deserving contenders. 2 others. Both undefeated. Oh my God. It makes it even worse when you put it that way. You have 2 undefeated fighters on long win streaks. Fresh matchups that we all prefer. And they're going to give it to Diego Lopes. Volk just beat him and defended his belt against him, and he's being forced to fight him again. All right, let's get on to the next, okay? This is not controversial. Ilia Topuria is the greatest fighter pound for pound ever, even over Jones. That's what O'Malley said. And you have people saying, I saw a comment, and it was something to the effect of, Jones has 10 wins over UFC champions. You do with that information what you might. Do with that information whatever you want. Beating Max Holloway is about 100 times more impressive than beating Shogun. Beating Alexander Volkanovski is worth 10 Rashad Evans wins. Beating Charles Oliveira is 1 billion times better than beating Glover Teixeira, who became a champion. Charles Oliveira had 3 title wins against Poirier, against Gaethje. All right. He beat Michael Chan. Yo, maybe I should stop rattling off names. But, like, don't ever compare any Jon Jones win to Volk or Max. Outside of Daniel Cormier, I don't want to hear it. This is not about who's greater all time, because I will concede Jon Jones has the better resume. Jon Jones has the better, more accomplished career. 100%, I'm not here to argue with you on that. I am simply talking about pound for pound. What O'Malley means is overall skill set. I don't care if Jon Jones has outstruck people. I don't care if he's out-wrestled people. He is out-wrestling big, bumbling, dumbling oafs that should have been fighting in 2 weight classes below him. MMA Guru just made a video on this, showing the size of all of Jon Jones' opponents and how they were all basically welterweight size. And Jones was like, he was dwarfing these guys. And aside from that, we talk about lighter man skill. We talk about divisional skill gaps. Everyone who's in their right mind will admit that the lightweight and featherweight division is way more skilled than the light heavyweight division, especially the heavyweight division. Yes, it's amazing that Jones was able to win fights at heavyweight easily against Gon and Old Man Stippy. You cannot compare the skill level of Ciryl Gane, even Dominic Reyes, or Anthony Smith, even Daniel Cormier. You cannot compare that skill level to Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. If you put Ilia Topuria's skill set into a heavyweight frame or a light heavyweight frame, he is going 100-0. He's defending his belt at heavyweight and light heavyweight. He's going heavyweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight, light heavyweight. He's getting 8 title defenses a year, and he's never losing, and he's retiring only because he turned 55 years old. There is not a single fighter that has ever fought at heavyweight or light heavyweight that is as skilled as Volkanovski or even comes close. And Ilia Topuria beat Volk. And Ilia Topuria would beat Volk. And I'm a big Volkanovski fan. He'd beat Volk damn near 90 out of 100 times, okay? I've said a billion times that KO loss. Yeah, Volk shouldn't have taken it that shortly after getting head kick KO'd, but he didn't get knocked out because of his chin. That punch that landed on Volkanovski's chin, that landed because Ilia Topuria's setup skills. That landed because of his boxing skills, his speed, his timing, his footwork. You can make an argument for Makhachev as the best fighter in the world too, but the point being is that they're both guys that have made their careers at featherweight, at lightweight. The best fighter in the world is a lightweight. That's not controversial. In 2025, the best fighters in the world, the best fighters of all time are modern era fighters. The game has evolved. People have gotten a lot more skilled. You cannot make the argument that, well, Jones beat all these champions. Yeah, in the early 2010s. And for their time, they were tough. They were rootin' tootin'. But they were also fighting in the wrong weight class against like one of the first ever legit light heavyweights. And they were dinosaur era skill set fighters. Rampage Jackson would get out. If Rampage Jackson was fighting someone with the skill set of a Paddy Pimblett, dude, if Shogun was fighting someone with the skill set of a Lerone Murphy, I'm just bringing up fighters that are current ranked featherweights and lightweights, dude, they would get absolutely dusted. Gustafsson, I know Gustafsson was really good. If Gustafsson was fighting someone with the skill set of Max Holloway, he wouldn't have a chance. He would not have a chance. Holloway would take him down and sub him. I don't care. Oh, Gustafsson's takedown defense. Holloway would take him down and sub him. Striker Holloway would take him down and sub him. Okay? Like, come on. This is not controversial. Okay? Let's get on to Benoit St. Denis versus Beneil Darius. I'm going to have a sip of coconut water. Great addition to UFC 322, by the way. I think UFC 322 needed a fight like this. You had Edwards versus Carlos Prates, but it's a Leon Edwards fight. And even though it's a big fight, highly ranked fight, there's a high chance that it's boring, and it's hard to get that hype for an Edwards fight because a lot of his fights are boring. I think this card needed a Darius versus St. Denis. It absolutely did. And I love this stylistic matchup. This is very, very similar to the Renato Moicano matchup. Benoit St. Denis versus someone that is known for their grappling, someone that is a better grappler than even Moicano. We talk about MMA math. Benoit St. Denis got destroyed by Moicano. Darius beat Moicano. I mean, this is a closed case. Benoit is going to get out-grappled. But the thing is, Darius is a different style. He is much less rangy on the feet. In order for him to close the distance, he's going to have to go through the Benoit St. Denis elbows and the meat grinder of the elbows and the marauding striking of him. He's going to have to get past that marauding striking a little bit. He's going to have to take risks. He's an older man, right? He's got the gray hair. His chin is a little bit chinny, okay? And Benoit St. Denis, now that he's training with this new coach, I'm guessing that his takedown defense is improved and he's getting better. Don't get me wrong, I think Darius is the better grappler, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a different fight. This is not going to be as simple as, well, Darius is going to do him like Moicano did because he's a better grappler than Moicano. Moicano's a bit of a tricky customer for a guy like Benoit St. Denis. He's a bit of a tricky customer, right? Yeah, this is a really fascinating matchup because I know Benoit can do a lot better in the grappling than he did against Moicano. I think that was an off night for him. I know, guys. I think it was an off night for him. But I still think that Darius is the better grappler. I think Darius is a really underrated grappler, but as he's gotten older, Moicano's not the best striker. If you're getting dropped by Money Moicano, don't get me wrong, Money Moicano's got a tricky customer striking style, but he's not very dangerous. If you're getting dropped by Money Moicano, you could get sent to the Shadow Realm by a Bubble Bass St. Denis elbow. Yeah, dude, Bubble Bass St. Denis! Benoit St. Denis. Dude, Benoit St. Denis looks like a shredded Bubble Bass. Dude, you're gonna get sent to the Shadow Realm by a fucking Benoit elbow, bro. But this is a sick fight. I fucking love this fight. I think it's a sick matchup. The grappling exchanges are gonna be sick. And also, I talk about Benoit St. Denis having a bit of the striking advantage. He's still a slow poke, right? Darius is a bit of a slow poke on the feet. So it's kind of even now. This is a sick fight. I love it. Early prediction, I'm going with Benoit St. Denis by a finish. I think this is going to be the thing where it's like St. Denis, he lost to Moicano, wasn't in the best headspace. There were some issues with his training camp and his coach. Now he's improving. He's more comfortable. He's in a better place in his career. He's learned his lessons. Darius, better than Moicano, just beat Moicano, but I think that old guard, the Darius Moicano guard, is starting to get a little bit older, starting to be a little bit more declined. They're definitely going to have the grappling advantage in this fight, but it's going to, I think a lot of this is going to be a little bit of a war of attrition, tough man contest as well. And I don't know if Darius is going to have the durability he needs in this one. So I might lean Benoit St. Denis, okay? And Jack Hermansson versus Orolbai. This is a really interesting fight because it's just a random matchup. I never expected these two guys to fight each other. It's also a horrible decision for Jack Hermansson to move down to welterweight after getting brutally knocked out. Jack Hermansson, older, right? He's not in his prime anymore. He just got brutally KO'd. And now he's moving down a weight class. He's going to have a added weight cut to an already worsening chin. And not only is he going to have a brutal weight cut, because he's not exactly a small middleweight. Jack Hermansson, he's got a big frame. He's maybe not the biggest middleweight, but like he's very lean at middleweight. Like he definitely cuts a lot of weight, right? Now he's going to have a brutal weight cut to get down to 170. That's a big weight cut. That's not a 10-pound weight cut. That's a 15-pound cut. His chin is going to be worse than ever, and he's fighting a speedy welterweight. Like he's fighting someone that has thud in his hands. Orolbai has got some pop. And again, I know that Gregory Rodriguez is a dangerous power puncher, but there's also a lighter man skill thing. Orolbai, he may not be seen as the big power puncher like Gregory Rodriguez is, but he's faster. He's in a more skilled weight class, and he's used to fighting at welterweight. And it's like, yeah, this is not a good idea, man. You don't add a weight cut onto a chin that's already going, okay? You don't want to go in there with even faster, more skilled fighters. That even though Orolbai is not looked at as like a striker, he does have good striking, and he's going to be faster than middleweights and better than middleweights. So, horrible decision for Jack Hermansson. I think this is going to be another KO loss. I think he's getting knocked out. I think the grappling will be interesting, but again, middleweight grappling versus welterweight grappling. Both good grapplers, but welterweight grappling is better. So, and Orolbai is also a big welterweight too. So it's not even like, well, you know, Jack Hermansson's going to be the much bigger guy, man. He's going to be too strong for a man. No. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed. That is it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Until next time.